It's dark here. That much I know. I'm not aware of much else though. My mind is blank. It's a clean slate as far as my background or personal identity goes. But I do know regular things, basic facts and figures I possess. Just no sort of personal information which might clear up these mysterious circumstances. I don't even know my name. Can you imagine that? Everything is not okay with me. This place is cavernous and cold. The floor and walls are uneven and damp too. I'm alone in a lightless, undesirable hell and wouldn't wish this uneasiness on my worst enemy. The more I creep around feeling for answers, the further I seem to get from them. No one answers when I call out, and not a soul steadies me as I stumble blindly in the darkness. Vertical pits threaten to ensnare, and narrow passages redirect my rambling journey. My screams and tears are wasted. I'm beginning to believe the end has come, and I'm too overwhelmed to realize it. Time has no meaning here. Day and night are theoretical states of being for a world I no longer remember. 10 minutes or a dozen lifetimes may have passed. For all I know, I've always been in this deep abyss, and everything is a vivid fantasy my lonely imagination concocted. Will I ever escape? Is there anything to escape to? My mind pores over the theoretical possibilities in the absence of any tangible stimuli. My feet feel the scattered stones and soil beneath them. That's the only reality I can vouch for. Everything else is blank. Sometimes I imagine I wake up or stagger out of this maze of pitch. For the briefest of moments I feel happiness, but it's always short-lived. The smothering darkness is still here, and I'm still immersed in a labyrinth of hopelessness. What meaning or purpose could there be to banish me to this place? Why must I suffer an eternal plague of abandonment and fear? What was my unpardonable crime or deadly sin? There's no one else to answer those gnawing questions, but the details no longer matter. I am alone and lurking in an endless stalemate of despair. I am the nameless, forgotten thing in the dark. It is a nightly ritual for you, sitting on the balcony in the warm enveloping air, feet crossed on the railing, pencil moving delicately across the pages of your sketch pad. Occasionally you glance up at the scene before you and snap what you deem important details into memory before taking another drag of your cigarette and exhaling a slate gray cloud into the darkness. The whisper of lead on paper as you translate these impressions is no louder than the starless night, nor the insects and tree frogs that forage and chirp and croak so quietly as if not to disturb your work. When you look up again, a ragged man stands motionless beyond, a stoic, irregular shape in the darkness. You consider excluding him from the sketch, but decide this would be deceptive to the realism you're trying to capture. So you integrate him into the background, this dark, harrowed man whom slumps so peculiarly. Glancing again, you find the man motionless still, but now somewhat further away. You move your pencil in a hurry to solidify his existence into your art, but the more you attempt to add detail, the more he becomes nothing but a darkly shadowed smear on paper. Each time you draw your eyes away from him to the page, the further he has moved when you affix them again. Your heart races faster as this fight to capture him ensues. The muted night is broken by a deep, rolling thunder that makes you lurch in your chair. You take a long drag of your cigarette, but it does nothing to impede your shaking hands. The heavens split open and heavy, slanted rain comes down on the distant harrowed man. You struggle to capture him before he disappears, your body falling into nervous convulsions of anticipation and fear. The rain pelts the ground with a repetitious patter, in time with the toe caps of your boots tapping together. The sound of lead on paper grows louder than the thunder, so loud you can already feel something thick and wet trickle from your ears, but you ignore it and continue drawing because that is all you can do now in this thunderous deafness. Even if your pencil is ripping through the page as the dark, shadowed smear grows across the sketch until it takes up all the white space, and the pencil breaks so your thighs beyond tear like nylon in great crimson strokes, and your eyes stream with tears when you realize how badly you want to go back inside, but know you never will. And still, the harrowed man has moved further away each time you bear to look. So obscured is he in the sheeting rain, all you can see is the wilted ghost of his irregular shape. Until he is so far away, he he is now close enough to reach through your sketch and crush your throat with putrescent hands. I'm going to tell you a story, for no other reason than I want to share it. I haven't told anyone else. Death comes to me at night, you see. He sits in the tree outside my window. I don't know how long he had been out there without me knowing it. One night I felt compelled to go to the window. There he was, a few meters away. At first, I was afraid to talk to him. He sat patiently, waiting for me to be ready. I could spend hours standing in front of the window. Time stood still and rushed by at the same time. I was 8 when I decided to talk to him for the first time. I didn't dare open the window, but somehow speaking in a normal tone worked for both of us. We talked for a bit about my mother, and I already thought of him as my new friend. I looked him straight in the eyes to ask him if he wanted to be my friend. His eyes were completely empty, devoid of soul. I got scared and ran downstairs, wondering how I could have missed his lifeless eyes in all that time just looking at him. I snuggled up with my dad in my parents' bed. No, I'm sorry. In my dad's bed. We both cried ourselves to sleep, but I think it was for different reasons. I was really popular in high school. I was the first girl in school to do all the cool stuff. I was the first to develop breasts, the first to lose their virginity, the first to begin smoking, and the first to get so drunk she'd pass out. My friends adored me. All the adults adored me, always talking about how grown up I was for my age. My dad was my rock throughout my teenage years, and I'm sad to tell you he is now on his deathbed. Not even 60 and he's dying. Every day for the past 2 weeks since I got the news, I've been talking to my friend in the tree. He says he can help my dad if I let him in. I'm no fool. I know what that means. I told my dad I have a friend that could help him, if he wanted to. My dad is no fool either. My dad did not want his help. I've talked to him a lot since my dad passed away. He has moved a little bit closer. He hovers outside my window now. Last night I came home after the funeral. All alone in this big house, my grandmother worried. I wanted to be alone, I assured her. I knew he would be there for me. I put my hand on the glass. I wanted to open it. He stretched out his. The second his hand touched the glass, it made an imprint in the frost the contact had created. It's still there today.